Good morning. This is January 19th, so we are a couple of days past the 30th anniversary of the beginning of Operation Desert Storm. Of course, we had been there. I got there the last part of September, and so we had been there all of October, November, and December. So we'd been there a little bit over 3 months with the build up and with hauling ammo up to the front lines, what would be the front lines up on the Saudi Kuwaiti border. My unit was the 112th MP Battalion, Mississippi Army National Guard out of Canton, Mississippi. So our MPs were dual purpose. They were guarding the RCENT headquarters downtown Riyadh, and they were doing escort duties up to Tapline Road and across that area, King Cleo airfield and stuff like that. So being a chaplain assistant, I did quite a bit of traveling around. Our brigade had split the theater in half. The brigade chaplain dealt with half over by Daharan, and my chaplain dealt with the part over by Riyadh. And so we would go through our battalion headquarters once a week, load up, and head out again. So just a few days before the deadline came, I got a 4-day R&R pass to go to Bahrain, which is right there at the Saudi border, and they had a cruise ship that they brought in for soldiers, and they would let them have 4 days of R&R on the ship and everything. And so, it's a full cruise ship, with the hot tubs and the movies and dancing, whatever we had back then. It was a chance just to get away from things. I thought the timing was very unique or ironic, whatever you want to call it, because of the fact that we were fisting to be at war, and here I am going on R&R for 4 days. So we got to the ship and got there. They had kept the ship in dry dock there, and what they would do would let us go downtown Daharan and shop and everything. But because of the date, we were restricted to the ship. And then the day before the day of the 15th, they put us out to sea. And we were out there. I could see the USS Missouri battleship. I could see the USS Comfort hospital ship, and then just barely in invisibility, but I could see the outline of the carriers. And so the 15th, of course, came and went. Nothing. And then the 16th, started off, and there was nothing. Of course, we were, the official war for us started the morning of the 17th. So we were sitting on the top of the deck of the cruise ship January 16th at night, and it was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we started seeing the jets take off from the aircraft carriers, and they were probably about 500 feet off the ground by the time they got to us. And they we could tell they had their missiles on their arms on there, and we said, hey, this is the real thing, because before they had been taken off and they were flying dry because you don't land with munitions, and so we said, this is it. And then a couple hours later, Bush came on the CNN and said the war started. We were bombing Baghdad, and of course the CNN guys were in Baghdad, and they were covering it live, giving updates of the bombings and everything. And of course, as we kept going with the night of the morning of the 17th, and all that. And so as the 17th came, we came back into port. We had to get off, obviously, the ship because we were officially at war, so we needed to get back to our units and stuff. And when the we got off the ship, we had to wait because nationals normally drove us, and we couldn't cross the Saudi border with the nationals, so we had to put an American behind the wheel. The only people that were going into Saudi Arabia were Brits, Americans, and Saudis, and so because of the war, so we we wanted to do that. I mean, we got to the border, we got crossed into Saudi, and once we were in Saudi, we went to Cobalt Towers there in Dhahran to stay the night. Probably about 1:30 in the morning. This is like the morning of the 18th. The first Scud attack hit. And we, of course, woke up, got into Mach 4. We stayed in Mach 4 for like 3 hours. And then we were still trying to get a hold of our units to come get us, because originally the bus drivers were supposed to take us back to our units, back to Riyadh, but they weren't driving because of the war. So finally, our units came and got us, and we finally got back to where we were supposed to be for with our units, and so it was the start of the war. We knew, hey, we had been there, like I said, 3.5 months, so we knew that, hey, time to start getting the things together so that we can go home. It's as it was funny, as we got toward the ground war, some of our guys, MPs, were saying, hey, get us up to the front line and stuff, and of course we couldn't do that because, just the war, you don't just send people up to the front line and start fighting, so where you get people killed because they're in places they shouldn't be. But I'm going to read from my journal. I still have my journal from Desert Storm. 13 January 1991, only 2 days to K-Day. I think all the resolutions that voted on were passed by Congress last night, so I guess it's wait and see game. We had 24 in service this morning, which was good considering the conditions were rainy and cold. 14 January 1991 on the Bahrain, really impressed. Can't believe I have a 4 days in Bahrain. It'll be so cool. Thank you, Lord, for the blessing. 15 January, today is the 15th. We hadn't heard anything yet, but maybe today will pass just like all others. I don't want war, but if it brings peace, then that's what it'll take. 17 January, war is here. We are going into a hot theater. Only Saudi, Brits, and Americans can go into Saudi Arabia. So after months discussion with bus line officials, they finally let us go when we put an American soldier behind the wheel. We got to the collection point, but no one from our unit was there, so we spent the night in Cobalt Towers. All of the nationals had quit driving the buses. Our unit will have to come get us. 18 January, morning started off with a bang, literally a boom, as the Patriot missile battery went off to shoot down a Scud missile. Thanks to them, we only had to spend a couple hours at Mach 4. It was 3:45 a.m. when the missile was shot down. And so I think it's real interesting that I have the journal from that time, being in war, and as as the things were happening, I was writing stuff down and stuff, and being able to reflect on that and stuff, and of course, the war didn't take that long. The war was over with, in 42 days, from the time we dropped first bomb till we called ceasefire till we signed signed the agreement for them to withdraw. But during that time, there was a lot of movement, a lot of things going on in Saudi Arabia, and then once you got up to Kuwait, we got into Kuwait. Remember going through Highway to Hell, or Death Highway, where they bombed all the Iraqi vehicles and stuff. I remember standing on top of something, and my chaplain said, "Hey, you need to watch that." And I looked down, and I was standing on a pile of grenades that had melted together, so luckily they didn't go off, and stuff like that, but it's just one of those things that is, something that you don't know to expect. Of course, oil well fires had started up by that time, and we were dealing with total darkness in some places where the smoke was blocking off the sun and stuff, and the sand and the oil and everything mixing, making for a big mess. I had several times that I saw the Patriot missile batteries taken off where we were at, going after the Scuds and stuff, and it was one of those things that you don't ever see, because of just the war and everything. My experiences there were a lot of fast moving stuff, that happens for 15 seconds and then it's over with, and then you go back to doing your normal job and stuff. And of course in Saudi Arabia, even in January, the temperatures were still warm in the 90s, and wearing mop gear, you're sweating and everything. We had people who were hyperventilating and having to break seals on a mask and stuff. Luckily we were never exposed to chemical weapons directly or anything like that. I've watched videos. It's funny, when you're at war, you're not too much worried about what's going on around, as far as the overall picture. But I've watched videos of Desert Storm, and watched places going, I was there, and I've been there, like I said, up at King Khalil and Airport, King Fahd airfield. We had our Air Force up there. I had a friend who had a nephew that was a A10 overhaul mechanic. I got to walk down the line of the A10s and look at them, bunker bursters, and tank killers and stuff, and it was one of those things that, you stand in awe and you realize the power of the Air Force. And then of course as we got into Kuwait, seeing the damage that we did, on the Iraqi bunkers and stuff, and then of course, the damage that the Kuwaiti people dealt with, the atrocities that the Kuwaiti people went through really never got out that much, mainly because of the Kuwaiti government and stuff, just kind of keeping everything close to the vest and stuff. But if you go back and you read some of the things, I saw a video, it was talking about class of 1990, and of course this is the class that was going to that had just graduated or was going to graduate when Saddam came in, and you can imagine. I know last year people were upset about high school graduations and stuff getting postponed and stuff, but these people literally had their country invaded, and all of that, so it's a very different thing, and the thing about it is, people really don't understand war not unless it comes home. That's why Desert Storm brought it to the front doors. Actually live images of the bombings and everything of Baghdad and stuff like that, those were images that came home, it was no longer on a tape or no longer 3-4 days over. It was live, going on right then and there. And so it was a new thing for the American public. And of course, Desert Storm was the first military engagement since Vietnam, and we kind of rectified some of the things that Vietnam had done in public perception of the military. And, I wish that never had happened with Vietnam, because those soldiers and everybody who went through Vietnam did so much more than we did, fighting a war nobody wanted, not having that support. I can't imagine the traumatic events that they went through fighting a war nobody wanted you to fight, And so, like I said, 30 years, I mean, it's a lifetime ago, and, I still can think of things that happened back then, and things that are very clear to me, 30 years later, and like I said, sitting on the top of the deck of the cruise ship, watching the F-16s and stuff take off, fully loaded, ready to go, and knew that they were going to bomb somewhere in Baghdad. And, we saw the Tomahawks being launched from the battleships and stuff, and you have to realize that we did what we needed to do back there, and we came home. We accomplished a mission liberating Kuwait. I remember going into Kuwait City when we finally got into Kuwait and stuff, and it was really a wonderful experience of the celebrations that we had for the people of Kuwait, and like I said, all the things that we were able to do were tremendous. So that's my reflection of Desert Storm 30 years later. Next week we will be talking about suicide. I just want to talk to you about suicide and talk to you about some of the things that you as a person can look for in your veteran friends and stuff. And I want you to be able to know how to recognize when one of your friends is doing that and stuff, so y'all take care. Let me check the thing here and see if I got a lot of things. No, Monet, I'm not selling the shirt. I got it from Till Valhalla, I think is the way you pronounce it. They're the ones that sell the shirt. I'll put a hashtag on my thing. Let's see, imagine all the people recognize when surprised or guilt, shame, and experienced by his first time he felt his children. Proud for your class. Documentary depicting some of your experience and events during your years of service. Yeah, I have considered it, and that's why I work these places in, that are key in my career. I'll be doing one in March when we get to when Iraq took off. Let's see, 2003, so 18 years ago, and then like 9/11 and stuff. So yeah, I'll be reflecting on my career some more. So thank you, and y'all have a good day.